This video is associated with our paper on reliable sleep staging of unseen subjects with fusion of multiple EEG features and RUS boost, which is abbreviated as MEFFR technique. Now, this shows the typical EEG traces of different sleep stages. So the journey of sleep staging starts from analyzing this highly non-linear complex EEG signals corresponding to different sleep stages, and finally deriving the hypnogram, which is shown on the right hand side, which actually shows the compressed information in the form of different discrete sleep stages across the overnight sleep cycle. Now, this work focuses on sleep stage classification using multiple EEG features and RUS boost technique. We have derived multimodal features to capture different properties of EEG signal. This is the workflow that we have carried out in this study. So the different EEG signals, single channel or combination of 2 or 3 channels, are passed through a bandpass filter, followed by the data segmentation, followed by the extraction of multiple EEG features, which involve a variety of feature sets such as temporal features, spectral, time frequency features, non-linear features, statistical features, and other features. So all these different varieties of features have been taken in our study. The next step is feature selection, followed by the classification. And for that we have used a RUS boost classifier. Then finally we evaluated the performance of the model using 3 different validation techniques, that is SIT, SDT and 50% holdout testing. These all will be described in great detail in the coming slides. Now, why we chose RUS boost classifier is that in order to deal with the class imbalance issue, which is very much prominent in sleep scoring problems. This is because different sleep stages have uneven number of epochs, and as a result of which there is a class imbalance. And it has been found in the literature that RUS boost is able to tackle this problem very well. We have also compared the RUS boost classifier with the traditional SVM with RBF kernel classifier, and we have found that the RUS boost actually outperforms a traditional SVM classifier. We have also experimented with single channel EEG as well as combination of 2 or 3 EEG channels for 3 different kinds of datasets. And they are sleep EDF, dreams and expanded sleep EDF dataset. Finally, in order to evaluate the performance of the model, we calculated classification accuracies using 3 different validation techniques. And they are subject dependent testing (SDT), subject independent testing (SIT), and 50% holdout testing. So the basic difference between all 3 is that in SDT, the trained test sets can actually share epochs from the same subject because the splitting is done on the basis of epochs and not subjects, and hence it is not accurate measure to provide the generalizability of model. But it is the most commonly reported testing technique in literature, and hence we have considered it in order to compare our study with the rest. The next is SIT. Here we have utilized leave one out subject strategy. So one subject at a time has been used for testing while training is carried on the rest of the subjects. So each time one subject is actually unseen by the model, and hence it provides a more reliable measure of performance. On the other hand, 50% holdout technique actually performs a random 50-50% split of the entire dataset. So 50% subjects are kept for training and rest 50% for testing, and this is run across multiple trials, each time a random 50-50 split. This is actually a very good estimation of the model's ability to generalize on new unseen subject. So the SDT technique is not preferred as such, while SIT and 50% holdout testing provide good estimate of the generalizability of model and should be tested for every model. The key aspect of our technique is that it provides promising results on the data of unseen subjects, which is required in the real-life scenario. Also, we have validated using 3 different data sets, which emphasizes its reliability. Now here we have reported some of the major flaws in previous literature. That is, most of the studies have actually reported SDT, which actually does not provide any information on the performance of new unseen subjects, which is very much required in practical purposes. The next is that they have utilized multivariate signals, like they have included EEG, EMG or EOG. It is obvious that as we increase the number of channels, the classification accuracy improves, but on the other hand, it also increases the computational cost, as well as it also creates inconvenience and sleep disturbances. So, we should always prefer minimum number of channels. The next point is that they have considered only 5-state classification and not reported different N-class classification problems. Also, they have not tested it on multiple datasets. They have considered a very limited number of subjects, around 8, which does not suffice for the validation of any study. Also, most of the studies have actually not considered cross-validation technique and only used a single splitting of data into test and train set, which is not as robust as cross-validation. Finally, they have also achieved very lower sensitivity values for S1 sleep stage. And this is because S1 is actually one of the most challenging sleep stage to score accurately, because it resembles very much to the REM and wake stage, and hence the lower sensitivity values reported in literature. Also, the recent studies have focused on deep learning methods, which demand huge amount of data and computational resources, which is hardly the case for clinical studies. So in our study, we have overcome all the previous flaws stated. Like, we have reported SIT and 50% holdout testing. Also, we have utilized only single or combination of 2 or 3 EEG channels, and we have showed that it is sufficient for reliable results. Also, we have reported the results for different N-class classification problems, and we have performed it on multiple datasets with a large number of subjects. Further, we have used 10-fold cross-validation technique, which is very much robust than that of a single splitting of data. We also achieved a comparable or better S1 sensitivity values, and our method is not computationally demanding. Overall, MEFFR provides consistently good results for different sleep stages across all the 3 datasets for multiple validation techniques with minimum number of channels. This shows a plot for the classification performance across different datasets and validation techniques. So as we can see, there are 3 different datasets and 3 different techniques for the validation, that is SDT, SIT and holdout. The first thing to note here is that SDT actually provides the maximum classification accuracy for all 3 datasets. This is because it actually overestimates the performance of classifier and should not be preferred for validation of any study. Also, we can see the DREAMS database has performed worse out of the 3, and it is considered to be a more challenging dataset and reported in other studies as well. SIT and holdout, both these techniques are providing almost similar results, which again shows the reliability of our method. And finally, the applications of this study is it can be used for automatic sleep staging. Also, it can be used for the diagnosis of neurological disorders. For example, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's are detected at a much later stage. However, if we analyze the sleep patterns, then they can be diagnosed at a much earlier stage. So MEFFR can actually provide sleep annotations as input and assist the experts to detect any anomaly. Also, it can be used for the detection of sleep-wake cycles in coma patients. In comatose patients, it is very difficult to detect the sleep stage because they do not have a proper sleep-wake cycle as such. Hence, this binary classification of sleep or awake state is very much crucial in order to provide the sensory stimulation to these patients. It has been reported in literature that providing sensory stimulation to these patients in awake state is much more effective than that in sleep state. Hence, this information is very much required.